Okay. As you can see, I have a script ready, yeah, and I'm gonna talk about a lot of things that happened in the past 2.5 years, maybe even three nowadays. I don't know. So the theme's gonna be the most basic theme here is everything we do isn't really bad, but everything they do is, yeah, as a sort of in group versus out group kind of thing. The keywords of this whole document or script, I guess, is responsibility, yeah, autonomy, smurfing, boundaries, and vulnerability. Yeah, if you talk about Sophia, yeah, later. Um, I try to make a chronological order, but it's probably not everything. Okay, so here's my okay. So I'm a new player, yeah. I've made it to Plat, and then at some point I thought, maybe it's time to connect with other people, yeah. So the first thing what happens, I join a Omega Strikers Discord. The first thing I do is go do something like this, yeah. Go on the search bar and then search Juno Bubbles. Or, yeah, Juno Bubbles, because that was my in game name in beta. Um, and then instead of it being empty, there was like 4 pages of insults, yeah, which 2 years later was like 20 pages or whatever. Anyways, my point is that's my first experience, yeah, being trash talked to. I didn't even. Here's the thing: I didn't even need to search for it. The first thing I opened up was after a game that I joined the Discord. Literally, the first thing I was seeing was someone trash talking me. It could have been Nero. I'm not sure about it. I like his name is popping up in my head, but he probably wasn't the player that was trash. That I saw trash talking me in beta. Um, but that's the first thing I'm seeing, and then I scrolled back and I saw them trash talking others, and then I saw I searched my name in the search bar, and then I saw like 4 pages of this. Yeah, the theme. Yeah, okay. So this obviously was happening, yeah. But but also this was happening, yeah. This you saw a lot of these messages on the Discord server in beta, a lot of them. Some of them were also pointed at me, um, like in a generic way. Username should, yeah, something typed like this. Um, so at some point, I PM people and typed it back. And here's one thing. I come from a game CS:GO. You hear this thing every day. This is like if you constantly hear the same thing, yeah, at some point it has less value to you. So it was kind of like to me at that time, like 2.5 years ago in beta, it was kind of like typing idiots to someone, and then he's typing idiot to me back, and it's something like this, yeah. But obviously that was not the case. um I'm mainly still typing this into this script, yeah, because this is the reason I could not interact with most of the people in a natural way on the EU community in Omega Strikers. And a lot of players that did the same thing basically got nothing. For some reason, they didn't receive anything. Or it was something like 1 day ban, a mute or whatever, and then they said this stuff like 2 weeks later, but now it's like 2 weeks gone, and then these friends say to each other, yeah, just mute him again. He's not gonna do it again. And then 4 weeks later, he's saying it again. Let's mute him again. Like, this it's like playing it down, yeah, of your in group, and the out group. Whatever they do is like a big ghost, yeah, like a big thing. Um, but let's move away from this bad experience. Yeah, I also want to highlight good experience. Yeah, I so at some point I started to look into the tournament scene. Yeah, and so I had a few I had like two teams. Yeah, my first team was called Team Bite Breakers. Yeah, yeah. This thing actually came after this coaching with a view, so, because one of these people could play, and then we took in Otneo as a sub, and then gave them a chance to improve. They were like plat at the time. They later made it to Challenger. Okay, so this team, which I played for a while, for like 2 3 months, which you could call it a permanent team. It had some sort of consistency, yeah, with how much I played with this team. It collapsed because I was unable to play in the S tier tournament there at the time, which was the first season of it. It basically collapsed because of it. Um, and then after it happened, I was in a kind of limbo. Nobody wanted to do. There was I couldn't even ask people if they wanted to play with me, like from this EU Strikers Discord. And at the time I was like, I don't know. Okay, so here I was like high challenger season one, yeah. And then I decided to become the pro league at some point, and then gave these people some chances to improve, yeah. Um, so I don't know if it was because of me, yeah, but it was definitely they definitely made it to a higher rank, and it also means something. Like at the time, these players were like diamond challenger, and I made it to top three in a tournament, which was based on randomizing new characters, which means you needed to have a minimum amount of skill. It was still a lot of randomness to it, but it meant something getting to top three. A lot of people played in it. After that, I found a new team with one Pro League and one High Challenger. We had some respectable results, top four, top three, yeah. It's on hindsight, it's definitely a nice thing, yeah. It's like we grinded it from top six finishes to top four, and then at some point even a top three finish, which was really nice. And it wasn't it definitely this top three finish was definitely in a weekly tournament where at least six full pro league teams played. It wasn't just a, oh, there's only six people playing and you're top three. No. That also happened, but this didn't happen in the case I'm talking about. At some point, it collapsed, the team, because I was unable to play in the USL season 3. And this part happened because, okay, I get to this later, but I'm gonna simplify it because I'm getting to this later. So we were doing a coaching tournament at some point, and a dude thought it was a bright idea to white flag people that we coach later on his Smurf, yeah. And I told him I basically berated them for doing it, yeah, and I got banned. They didn't get banned. So because of this, 6 months later or whatever, I still was unable to participate in this tournament, um, which then caused me, like, this team had definitely top three finish potentials, and even better if we kept on grinding, and Lugimana managed to become even better at this game. Like, this was the weakest part of the team. It wasn't like weak, but if this player became even better, we would have a respectable top two finish. We could have respectable top two finish. But it never happened because I was unable to participate in the big tournaments. Yeah, it just didn't happen. So I thought, all right. They need to get the chances to actually in the next season of these tournaments be able to go for a higher spot than top three. Let's split apart here. Remember the good time we were having, yeah. That's basically what I said. Yeah, here. Um, yeah, I said I cut it short, but if it went on a few more weeks, the team would have collapsed. It definitely would have collapsed. It's like you could see the end already, and I just made it quick and short. Yeah. Um, Anyways, so Kamikiri got to a new team. They already, before it collapsed, they already slowly tried with a new team, which I don't fault them for. I've only, like, it was naturally that someone is gonna be in a different team because I couldn't play in a ST tournament, yeah. I only have good memories with these guys. So yeah, quit the tournament scene at some point because, look, I found this team after for several months I didn't find anyone else. Like, this is like, if these guys are gone, I'm not gonna find any other team, even if I would be unbanned. Yeah. So I quit the scene, tournament scene. I said I'm not gonna play any tournaments from this on. The only exception I've tried to make a few weeks ago was playing with these guys again to give them a chance to improve, yeah. But then when I tried to reach the star, it said I needed to be on the Discord I was banned on, so it meant I was banned for the weekly tournaments. But I definitely quit the tournaments, on my server. It's not. I'm not playing competitively anymore. Especially if the only exception to it was giving people that weren't as competitive as their counterparts to give them a chance. It's not the same as playing a tournament seriously. It's kind of like having fun with your friends, like playing Mario Party or whatever. So yeah, this was like my positive experience with you, yeah. Except for the tournament ban, I guess. I had a lot of good stuff going on with NA players, yeah. There's like a really big positive side to the NA community of Omega Strikers. Yeah, I need to drink something. So yeah, good experience EU, good experience NA, and now we come slowly to the bad stuff. So overall, this is like a thing that has been happening in the past 4 seasons, I guess. At first, there was a very, very large group. It was at least 3 different groups, but they all belong to the same group. It's just they split into 3 smaller bubbles. I guess you can say that, but they were still part of the same bubble. Yeah. So these guys, I'm not gonna name any names, yeah, but these guys script only script mostly like okay, so like one third of these people played ranked like for 1 hour or so. Another third only played on a Smurf when they were playing ranked, only on a Smurf, which is very, very bad, yeah. Another third didn't play at all, only played Scrim. I'm just gonna highlight the people that then after scripting only played on the Smurf, and that was not such. It wasn't just like a 2 people do this. It was like 5, at least 5, around 5, and it was definitely not always the same amount of numbers. Like season 2, season 3, this happened more, and after it kind of went away. And it went away because I didn't even mark this down. At some point in like season 3, I started this whole anti-Smurf campaign, yeah. And if that didn't happen, people would have still done so much Smurfing. We are going to come to this Smurfing part later. The first thing I want to highlight is this whole Cackle 9 incident, which comes down to, it's basically harassment. The problem is Cackle 9 wasn't the main reason for harassment. Sure, it was caused by him, but the people that did this harassment were part of the group of Cackle 9, but it wasn't Cackle 9 himself. It's like when a person bullies someone, and then there's like bystanders, and except he wasn't a bully, he was kind of like at a low line of a bystander. But it was definitely chaos because Keckle Knight did this thing. So what even happened? Yeah, what even happened for the people that didn't know? You probably already read this part. Yeah, but I'm gonna say it anyway. So there was this person. This person was hiding behind a virtual avatar. Yeah, we call them VTubers. They played this game 13 hours a day, sometimes even more. Yeah, you can kind of guess what a person is that does this kind of thing 13 hours a day. I played this game for 8 to 10 hours, which is already insane. 13 hours or even more is even more insane. Yeah, so they did a rookie tournament. Yeah, you needed to, like, the rookie needed to have 20 games and their win rate shouldn't be too high. Basically did a math formula to avoid smurfing. These were the requirements, so they can notice if someone is smurfing. And then Keckle9 told this rookie he was getting on his team so he can participate in this tournament for casuals, basically. Keckle9, by the way, was top 1 player at that time. Yeah. So he told this rookie on the main Omega Strikers Discord servers, which you can find in game here, this one, by the devs. Yeah, he typed on that server that his rookie should lose the next 5 games on purpose. Yeah, so they go from 15 to 20 games and the high win rate gets lower, and then they aren't a smurf anymore by this math formula. So after this happened, yeah, then the streamer noticed it and then disqualified them. And this guy really didn't like it, so he went to his Discord buddies, and not necessarily Discord buddies. There were also people that weren't really like the homies, like the buddies of Keckle9. It was also people that just watched Keckle9 playing the game. Yeah, but all these people went to several Discord servers and to the Twitch chat of the streamer and harassed them. A huge harassment campaign. I didn't see this one. Like, I've played so many games in gaming, yeah, and usually you only see this kind of harassment campaign in like Gamergate style harassment campaign. This was like a very isolated one, which was surprising. I didn't even see such a campaign before. So guess what happened after this? Keckle9 saw nothing happened. Instead, this Sophia guy, yeah, that if you stream a game for 13 days, for 13 hours a day, yeah, you give, this game gets a lot of free advertisement. Yeah, someone like this got first acknowledged. Yeah, they get a check mark for it. Yeah, I really need to stream something. Oh yeah. So they got a check mark as a recognition that they played this game so damn much and advertised it. Yeah. And as a consequence later, because of this Keckle9 stuff, they got it removed, which caused them to just quit the game. Yeah, I would have done the same, to be honest. So that's what happened. This harassment campaign. Of course, there's gonna be full of the situation. It's badly described, but it's basically full, making the fire go big. Yeah. If we come to things Sophia did, it was definitely bad. You can still see it. Sophia's profile on Twitter is still up. They marked creators, yeah, stuff and content creators, like big streamers that got paid to play this game, and lesser big content creators, like smaller ones. They tagged. They said some stupid stuff, which we come to now. Yeah. So Sophia is the kind of person that plays a game for like 13 hours. Yeah. So all of these hours are not gonna be spent actually learning things. Yeah, in relation to the environment, like political stuff, cultural stuff. No, they just know things about the game. So at some point in this disaster of a harassment campaign, I guess. Um, they said stuff about communism or whatever, yeah. But it was just they just said this because it was really like at the time these memes were very popular, yeah. Like about 3 years ago, I guess. These memes were very popular at the time, and that's how they even knew the word communism existed. Um, but yeah, they definitely don't even know what communism is. Communism is bad. Like this sign here. Here's a quick introduction to political ideologies. Yeah, so here's the right alt right. Basically, most of them are Nazis. Yeah, I just put very easy to understand stuff. Like there's more things they do different, but I put prison as example because it's very easy to present the differences between these ideologies. But you can kind of transfer these to different society issues, how they would act. So the alt right, they put people into prison they don't like. You can see it in Trump in the USA, Trump doing it. Before that, when there were Democrats, which basically were just conservatives in Trump, yeah. I need to mute this. Okay, you can't mute this. So before Trump got to power, and there were like Democrats, which are like just in USA just conservatives, yeah. They criminalized drugs so they can get cheap prison labor, yeah. That's why drugs are criminalized in most countries. My God, I need to mute this. So there were yeah. So in most countries, if people work in a prison, they only get paid very small stuff. In some countries, the products they then can buy out of these €2, yeah, it's gonna be overpriced, so they can't even really buy anything. Yeah. Then there's like Sweden's prison style stuff, where they have like libraries, televisions, but they still work for 2 hours. But products are probably not overpriced. You know? Like cigarettes are gonna cost €8 instead of 20, that kind of stuff. Yeah. Then like there's a huge line. Yeah, there's like a huge line between people that really love authority, and there's people that are more orientated on organizing themselves. Yeah, like prison should pay what the workers pay for. Yeah, like the money they earn should directly go to the workers back. Like they shouldn't take any of it or very little. And then there's this group that just says prison shouldn't exist. Yeah, but this is not important. This is just a basic introduction to different ideologies and to explain why Sophia doesn't know what they're talking about. They don't know shit. Okay, so that's the Sophia part. Yeah, this Kaggle stuff. As you can see, I think the wrong person got punished. Yeah, Sophia would to this day still be streaming 13 hours a day. If this shit didn't happen, and maybe even Kaggle 9 had to face some sort of responsibility, but it didn't happen. Yeah, there's like one of the big things happened in EU. Yeah, one of the big things. Probably a lot of NA people know too, because there's like a meme picture of Sophia going around. Big thing. Some NA people even know about it, like from Omega Strikers. Okay, so we get to the smurfing part basically. So there was a guy, not a guy, a person. I'm trying to keep it gender neutral because I'm not good at doing pronouns. So there was a person with 11 Smurf accounts, and they rampaged with these Smurf accounts over 3 seasons. No, it was only one person, but this is like one big example because I have 11 Smurf accounts. Some of these people only have 4, which is a lot, or maybe 3, or maybe 2. The point is they don't smurf to avoid something like 40-minute queues because they're like in top 5. They do it for different reasons, like pleasing their ego, yeah, which they could technically also do by doing something less harmful, but that's not why I'm talking about smurfing. I'm talking about the consequences of smurfing. Yeah, tons of unbalanced games. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of them. A lot. We're talking about thousands, not even hundreds, thousand. Yeah. which start a snowball effect. Yeah, if you lose one game to a Smurf, yeah, you can make it up. Yeah, but let's say you lose like two or three. Yeah, and then like one side has 40 LP or something like this. Yeah, gets 40, the other loses 40. Yeah, and then it just goes on. Maybe next game this and this players on this team, and they wouldn't have been if the game before that didn't went like it went because of a Smurf. Yeah, and this results in like a snowball effect, like after effects. I guess you can call it after effects. There's also indirect consequences. Yeah, I've personally seen some players develop a hate relationship with each other. I can't but this. Even though what they didn't realize that because they lost not because one of these people were incompetent. Yeah, they were, but it happened like these people were on the same team because the enemy had a Smurf. So indirect consequences like this are also happening. The rivalries, hate relationships just start for no reason. So it's basically spreading hate. Is indirect consequences. It's bad. Um, now we're talking about something which had a direct consequence. It was the Sacre Flag incident. The direct consequence was me getting a tournament ban, not competition tournament. It's probably the same thing, yeah, but I'm gonna specific for tournament ban. I couldn't play in S tier tournaments anymore in user, yeah. So what happened? What even happened? So we were doing a coaching tournament, yeah, for mid Elo players, so we can make them go to high Elo players, hopefully, yeah. You know what this shitty ass person did? He was on a Smurf, yeah. He's also part of the group that usually scrimmed, yeah. So he's on a Smurf, white flag emoting like give up. This was used as a give up. You should give up, yeah. I dominate you. That kind of vibe this emote had. Originally it was just I have no spirit left. I give up. But they use it for a more malicious. They use it against others. They didn't use it for themselves. Yeah. Okay, so the white flag emoted people on their Smurf. Yeah. And these guys, it was only one, but this guy was responsible for it. And he was caught doing it. Yeah. He was. Yeah, he was white flagging to people who we would coach later. Do you know what this can cause? These people can just quit before we were even able to give them a chance to become better, or they just don't sign up for the tournament because they have frustrating experiences. I also personally know a lot of people that stop playing this game as soon as they get to low challenger because it's much more likely to get to play with Smurfs if you are near low challenge. But that's not related to soccer, yeah. Anyways, so I don't know what the fuck this why is this even happening, yeah? I would like move on from this kind of thing, yeah. But I can't because it resulted in a tournament ban for me. He didn't even see anything. I wouldn't even care at this point. But the fact that instead of he getting punished, I get a tournament ban. It's crazy. It's and this tournament ban is basically forever now. Yeah, that's the second stuff. We're talking, okay, because we're still talking about tournaments. Yeah, there's just a small brief note. There's someone that actually cheated in an EU tournament. So they needed to do tiebreakers for place 3 or 4. I don't remember if it was 3 or 4, but it was 3 or 4. So they did rock, paper, scissors. And this guy named Piels, he used some kind of script AI, whatever you call it, to decide his decision for him. And with that, he won the rock, paper, scissors tiebreaker. It's definitely cheating. It's probably not like if you think of cheating, it's probably tools, yeah. But this thing still had a direct consequence of reaching a top 3 or top 4. So reaching top 3 has, like, for example, Wikipedia has a much higher weight, so it actually still has consequences if you cheat like this. the people around him, they laughed it off. Yeah, I pointed it out at some point, and I got mocked for it. Yeah, part of the reason why people like there's a huge group of people that just don't take me serious, and things like this is part of it. But because I'm keep pointing these out, these issues. Yeah. Okay, so now we are past individuals doing incidents. Yeah, but we still have two people left that did bad society stuff. Yeah, racism. The word you can read it here, which is like Nazi shit. Yeah, and other things in Omega Strikers. You can't ignore in-game stuff, which is why smurfing and even names in games are bad. Yeah, very bad. You can't just ignore them. Smurfing probably worse than just a username, but yeah, definitely something worthy to be mentioned. Because as you can see, a person with 11 Smurf accounts cooperated with Do It Now by playing with them in a tournament recently, about 2 months ago. But it's a kind of normalization of these kind of people, yeah, which is it's just bad. It's just bad. I'm just bringing this up because it definitely. I'm trying to paint a line where this group of everything we do isn't really bad, but everything they do is bad. Is bad. Where this group stands, yeah, this is definitely a big point. That the guys that like every a lot of people would actually agree on doing shit things. Yeah, you can't excuse this shit. Yeah, um, they get normalized. Yeah, someone even do it cute with Johnny, but this happened like not even do it cute, but also playing tournaments. But this happened like 2 years ago. This is more recent. This one is more recent. Okay, so now this more personal beef I have with Omega Striker devs. Yeah, this fucking end of service like video. Yeah. Here, look at the fucking stats. Yeah, you can see here. You can see it was like a baseline. Yeah, they found a baseline of players still willing to play the game. Yeah. Instead, around here, like this was like at -2%, and then they make the video in the last 3 days, and then the percentage jumps up in the players. Around here, they make a video announcing that they stopped supporting Omega Strikers video, the Omega Strikers video game, which wasn't even true. It wasn't even true. That we 1 year later of the video, we even had new skins still. Yeah, it wasn't. They made such a big mistake uploading this video. If they didn't, we would probably still have around 1,000 players at the peak times, yeah, when everyone is on. Like everyone's out of school and EU and NA is at a time where everyone's still on. We would probably still have at this point of time 1,000 players going on. It's such a huge mistake. Holy hell. Here's another thing. So obviously this company, this capitalist company, wants to save as much money as possible. So instead of having a forum, they, like many other games, they created a Discord server. So I didn't even type this in it, but this problem is that these moderating people are moderating as if this would be like a sort of not even forum, like a more professional server, yeah. But this is basically a gaming forum, and I got banned, or not even banned, but I got several warnings because I was just doing this stuff. They wanted people to hear, like there was a big high elo feedback forum, and I was basically just saying a lot of things in it, and some other people didn't, or people that didn't have the same amount of skill as I had at the time. And for some reason you can get warned for this. It's so confusing. But that's not even why I typed this in. I linked community moderating. So you did some shit on I don't know, an EU Discord server, but it had nothing to do with this main Discord server Omega Striker said, yeah. But they like a few mods, like the one or two, were moderating both servers, so you usually get like marked on both servers. Yeah. You got marked on both servers, so if you were banned on the one, you quickly were banned on the other one. This shouldn't happen. This should not happen at all. There's now one very big problem. A lot of people are actually afraid to talk about, or don't really see as a problem. This glorifying VTuber Sony stuff, yeah, very bad. This is an enemy game, yeah, and if you also putting in something like Sony, yeah, you're gonna attract these kind of people. Very bad. I don't even want to touch on this topic, to be honest, so I'm gonna end the video here. Yeah, but no. I'm not gonna like. There's definitely something happening, but stop glorifying VTubers. Holy hell, they are made to exploit you, man. Nah, I'm not gonna talk about this topic. Okay, that's basically it. Anyways, uploading this one straight to YouTube. See ya.